No! No!
Don't come! Don't come!
The door of faith shall open.
The podcast of the dead.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast of the dead. My name is Corey Muru. I'm a writer of Sega Bits and an administrator of the website of the dead, and I'm here with
Upside Down Fuji, but you can call me Scott.
we're gonna first start off with the podcast of what we've been playing through this week.
Sure.
So Scott, what have you been playing?
Well, this week I haven't been playing very much. I guess I played a little bit of Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing Transformed on my PC on
Nice.
Steam, and I also played a little bit of Bejeweled. It's been a very slow week for me. Haven't had very much time to do anything serious. How about you?
Still been playing a lot of Virtua Fighter 2 lately. Played some Marvel vs. Capcom with a couple of friends. We were streaming, I believe,
Nice.
last week, not too long ago. I ended up getting my butt whooped. I've also been playing Phantasy Star Online 2 ES on the mobile phone.
Oh,
Lots of fun. It's like you can play your character on your mobile phone and receive items and receive them on the PC game, which is
No way.
a pretty innovative thing for Sega to do.
that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to see if Sega could make a Sonic title with utilize the Child Garden features on the mobile
Yeah.
phone into the main Sonic console game. That would be kick-ass,
Yeah, that would work really well. That would be the perfect substitute for the VMU back in the Dreamcast days.
Yeah, and what else have I been playing? Been playing a lot of arcade games on the Model 2 emulator. My friend and I were playing Dynamite Deca, which is also a Sega AM1
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Bruno Dillinger, when he gets hit and stuff, his clothes come off, and a lot of references in that game. Did you know that the bird from Golden Axe is actually in the game?
No, what? Where does it pop up?
The pirate during the pirate level, when after the crews blow up, Bruno and his team has to go to Wolf Hongo's little pirate island, and you'll see the first moment you head to the island, you should see inside a crate, or actually
Oh,
it's inside a cage, and you'll
All
see
right.
moving around and stuff.
that's a pretty cool Easter egg. I love it when Sega does that kind of stuff.
It's pretty kick-ass. Okay, now our next feature is that what was your first experience with the House of the Dead?
My first experience was actually on the Sega Saturn. I had the American Stunner, which is the orange gun, and I actually got my Sega Saturn with Virtua Cop 1, so I was looking for some other shooting games. And yeah, it was great, and it got me hooked into shooters even more than Virtua Cop 1.
Oh, God.
I'm not even really a big zombie fan, but yeah, anything with a Sega shooter game, I'm all over that. Especially Confidential Mission back in the Dreamcast
Oh my
days.
God! I remember I've seen that around in Dave and Buster's. What was your favorite moments in House of the Dead?
The original one, let's see. I don't remember any specifics, but just the campy humor and the fact that it knew that it wasn't completely serious.
Yeah.
It just felt right, especially for a game, I've never played the newest one, the one on the PlayStation 4. What is it? I forgot what it's called. It kind of has more of a mature feel to it with stronger language and stuff like that.
Oh, House of the Dead Overkill.
That's right. That's the one. Yeah, but yeah, that was my first taste of House of the Dead. It was in the home version. Eventually, I think around that time, arcades were kind of going on their way out, so I didn't have much of a chance to play the actual arcade version outside of maybe once or twice, and that was actually House of Dead 2. So
Oh,
it's kind of fun.
speaking
Yeah.
of House of the Dead too. How was the House of the Dead in Japan?
Well, there isn't very much going on right now in the arcades. I pop in every once in a while just to see if there's anything interesting, but most of it's, well, let's see, how do I explain these kinds of games? There's a lot of pachinko type games where you put coins into a machine and watch balls fall down and they collect into a jar. Or there's also a lot of kind of pseudo betting games like horse racing games and playing games for tokens to cash out for prizes. It kind of feels a lot like Chuck E. Cheese, except there's adults everywhere and they're smoking. Yeah. Actually, it feels a lot more like Vegas, except not as cool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
But yeah, House of the Dead in Japan in the arcade. I think the latest one was House of the Dead 4, and that was with a shotgun or something.
Oh, the Uzi machine gun.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, 3 utilizes the shotgun.
That's right. 3 is the pump shotgun. Yeah, my local grocery store has House of the Dead 4 with the machine gun.
Oh, nice. Oh, my God.
But it's kind of old, so older cabinets like that kind of pop up in weird places after a while because they're not mainstream anymore.
Yeah, pretty much true. I think they'll have, like, maybe House of the Dead 5.
Shoot, I have no idea. When did 4 come out originally? 2009, 10?
I believe 2005.
Oh, it's even earlier than that. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, they've been sitting on that license for a while now. I have no idea, to tell you the truth.
It's like, it's the same with Virtua Fighter and stuff. Like, Virtua Fighter 5 came out around the same time, and then they updated the game with Final
Right.
Showdown around, like, 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
I think what Sega might do, I'm not really sure if my facts are straight, but like, with each Virtua Fighter and each House of the Dead game, they're all ran on a different Sega hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Is there a new Sega hardware coming out?
I'm
Or
not,
is it?
not sure, but like knowing Sega, like they might have an arcade hardware that's like the architecture could be the same as the PlayStation 4 or
Yeah.
Xbox One. That's something they could do. It might cost a little money and stuff, but that's something they could do.
Well, there's definitely a market for shooters. They're not as popular as they were a few years back when I started living in Japan, but you can still see people standing in front of an old Time Crisis machine, or even I think there's a Terminator game and stuff like that. It's just, it really depends on where the arcade's located,
Yeah.
and I guess what time of the day it is.
Have you often go to Sega Joyopolis?
Well, there aren't any in my area. I live in Yamanashi Prefecture, which is a couple-hour train ride from Tokyo, and the closest one is in, I guess, would be Tokyo, or maybe even, is there one in Saitama? I'm not sure, but yeah, Tokyo. I haven't been to a Joyopolis for 6 months now.
Oh man.
I don't get out very much. It'd be like driving from San Diego to Los Angeles, except it takes a lot more time and money to get there.
Oh yeah, I know the feeling. I remember I went to San Diego Comic Con with my mother, and we had to take that like a hour train to get there.
Yeah, it's the short distances in Japan cost a lot of money to travel across. It doesn't matter what you're using. Anything's going to take money, especially trains. I'm lucky I drive, so it saves a little bit of money. But then you have to find parking.
But speaking of like House of Dead in Japan again, there's been a couple of manga spin-offs
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. Like I have at least one of them. It's called Nightmare Syndrome.
Mm.
It's a collection of like, see if we can get it right here. It's a collection of manga adaptations of several games like Clock Tower, uh, Moonlight Syndrome, and
Is
House
it
of the
a
Dead.
fan series, like a fan manga where it's not sold officially, or is it an actual thing you can
Yeah,
buy with a?
it's an actual thing.
Wow,
It's
that's kind of cool. So they had a crossover with Clock Tower and House of the Dead and stuff like that.
someone it's like a little short story. I believe it's about Rogan having nightmares when he
Mm.
first enters Dr. Curian's mansion. It's basically
Yeah,
the experience and seeing like Sophie die in front of him and all the stuff
yeah,
that before the events happen, and himself turning into a creature. Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, you saying that totally reminds me of the translation you asked me to do. Now I know it's not Logan, it is Rogan.
oh my god, yeah, that's that bothers me too. Like they call Rogan Logan in House of the Dead 4, and like
Yeah, they
well,
just kind of choose how they want to read it.
yeah.
The spelling's the same though, man. In Japanese, it's kind of weird sometimes with non-Japanese names. You kind of guess or ask somebody that knows.
What else did I had? And I had another fan who like has like buttloads of House of the Dead merchandise, and there I think uh, there's a Dojin version of House of the Dead. Actually, it's a
Oh yeah.
Dojin of the original House of the Dead game, and there's a Dojin for House of the Dead 3 where like Lisa and G are like chibi characters. That's pretty hard to find though.
Yeah, man, that is pretty unique.
Yeah,
But that's Japan, man.
yeah, that's what I like about Japan. Like there's always cool stuff over there. Like just recently, I just heard that Dynamite Deca was receiving a light novel, and I was like,
Oh,
what?
wow. That
So
series has been down for a while too. I'm
yeah,
surprised that's up for a novel, man. Or a light one, sorry.
yeah, yeah, they had Bruno Dillinger and Wolf Hongo and his Agent Dynamite tier. Like that was like the last one that came out. Agent Dynamite Deca EX, I believe.
Uh huh.
It's a pretty fun game. Like it's a pretty outdated, but it's still like fun. I hope Sega eventually ports those trilogy over. But
Man,
now we,
that's a sensitive topic.
yeah,
Western localization is not something Sega's been known for pretty much throughout its whole history, actually.
yeah,
Especially now, it's kind of ticked off a lot of people, especially with the Yakuza series, right?
yeah. Yakuza, Sakura Tyson, and
Yeah, that too.
Chronicles.
Oh God, I remember back when I was when Sakura Tyson was still a new thing. Yeah, people were always talking about like when is it gonna come over to the United States? When are we gonna get to play it, man? This looks awesome. It's an RPG strategy game. I didn't get to play it until like 3 years afterwards. I had finally imported it. I didn't know any Japanese back then, but thanks to the early internet, somebody had some rough translations up so I could enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game. It has a good storyline to it. It's just
Yeah,
just need to be translated. That's all. And playable.
exactly. It takes a lot of effort and time to do that. A lot of newer games, like sometimes they have simultaneous release where they'll have the Japanese and the English on the same disc during Japanese release. Like I think Anarchy Reigns or whatever it's called in Max Anarchy in Japan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's
That was that came out late. That was by Platinum. I love it. Actually, I love almost everything Platinum does. So.
that's all I gotta do. Just release an English version of Sakura Wars and like a port of Sakura Wars at the same time. Call it like Soccer Wars English edition or something.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea. I think what is Sega bought Atlas or something, right? Or
Yeah,
was it? They should have Atlas go on that.
yeah. I think they got the Index Corporation from Atlas. Yeah, they should do that. Yeah, they're very good with Japanese titles, like promoting them and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
with that.
and plus Hatsune Miku was coming out, so that could be another jump start. So that
That
way
seems.
Sega,
Oh,
like,
sorry. Continue.
yes, Sega is actually like aiming at like different audiences now. Like they're heading into MomoCon next week to promote Hatsune Miku, and that's actually a good spot to promote it at. Instead of like
Yeah.
places like New York and California all the time, they could go to different places like MomoCon or what was another anime convention and Anime Expo.
Yeah, Anime Expo,
Yeah,
Sakura on the other ones like that.
exactly. Like that's that's a good way to market out your games, especially if they're made in Japan.
Yep.
Uh, but
Shoot, I
yeah,
was gonna say something, but I forgot. It's okay. uh,
there's
man.
now on to translations. Have you found anything interesting on the translations from the Dr. Carrion report?
Um. Well, one thing I found peculiar about the Dr. Kieran report that you sent me. It's the interview section that I gave you a couple weeks ago. It's written in the voice of Dr. Kieran, which was kind of weird. I wasn't expecting that.
Nice.
Um, so when I was initially reading, I was like, this sounds like it was written by like a kid or something. There's like not enough punctuation. I can't figure out who's talking. it, and then I read it over again, and I was like, wait, this is being spoken partially in first person by somebody. And it's like, oh, it all makes sense now.
And Dr. Carrion speaking to
Yeah.
the game developers from AM1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was probably one of the more interesting parts. The rest of it is you're pretty much run of the mill, like all about X game guidebook, just kind of telling you the ins and outs of the bosses, and then some trivial specs about them. Nothing particularly eye popping, although it was cool that I started with the initial developer interview. I think they had a lot of interesting things to share, especially, I guess, the reveal about Rogan and Sophia possibly being a boss, but that was taken out. Or
Yeah.
not a boss, but yeah, you know.
And it was supposed to be like a paranormal game. Like, see, that gets me. If Sophie was like supposed to be a boss in the game, and the game was supposed to be paranormal, like you have to shoot ghosts and everything. That
Yeah,
that reminds me of Rise of Nightmares because you have to fight creatures and the last two bosses are actually ghosts themselves.
yeah.
So I wonder if they borrowed some ideas from that and included it in Rise of Nightmares.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I think it was good for them to just go the zombie route because then you didn't have to throw in any kind of weird technology or weapons. You just have your guns and shoot
Yeah,
for the head or blow off the limbs until they're gone.
blow up the limbs, and like
Yeah.
you'll see like Takashi Oda and the other staff, other House of the Dead staff in DBR scientist outfits.
Yeah, that's a cool touch. All the cameos that they do.
They're
Uh,
trapped in the cage, and so what else have you seen during the translations?
well, I'm kind of a busy guy since I'm a full-time teacher at a public school in Japan. So I don't get to do anything unless I'm on my lunch break and I don't have anybody bothering me during my office hours, or if at nighttime once I have my son down in the bed and I finally get some time to myself, and I don't decide to kill my brain with YouTube or something, then I give your translation some time. But I'm really sorry I haven't given them very much of a look through since. I haven't decided what to jump into next. I was thinking maybe just going in chronological order, like I was originally doing, where I sent you the first page. And but noticing anything interesting to me, I guess just learning more about the House of the Dead, just the details of it. I didn't really know very much outside of the game I played over, gosh, what was it, 15 years ago or something? Long time ago. So, I even have it on my Sega Saturn right now, but I don't want to play it with a control pad, you know?
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not. Speaking of not being the same, what do you think of like the light gun games in arcades and?
The current ones are pretty accurate, although it feels a lot more on rails. It feels a lot more like a ride now. House of the Dead, the original House of the Dead, it kind of had its quick, speedy parts, but it also felt like you were actually moving a little bit more realistically at times.
Yeah.
Newer games, it's just like get through, see how fast you can go through 100 yen. They didn't. It looks really flashy, but I don't think it has as much soul.
Yeah.
No.
Like, speaking of that, during the interview for the House of the Dead 4, on behind
Yeah.
the scenes, they actually wanted the players to, to feel like they're in the game. Like, like if the enemy hits you and stuff, like it'll feel like real, like you're getting hurt. Like
I got force feedback in the gun.
yeah, and have like make like the game like move as if you're actually in the game. And sometimes when I play House of the Dead, like I actually feel like I'm actually in the game, like running away from mutants and creatures and zombies and
Yeah.
stuff, and you have to like shoot them and all that stuff. House of the Dead 4 actually did a lot of that. They we have like groups of creatures around and stuff, and they grab you and throw you down on the ground, and you have to
Yeah.
shoot the gun to get back up. See, it had a
Yep.
lot of bonus features, and that's what I like about House of the Dead.
Yeah, there's a lot of split paths and different ways you can progress through the story. And depending on who you save or don't save, the story
Yeah, the story
changes
changes and still
just
goes
a little bit. Yeah, that's good.
on.
I think that was part of the thing that was discussed in the the translations I'm working on, just the branching paths and stuff.
Yeah, Sega's been doing a lot of branching games throughout the years.
Yeah, I think that's a strong point. Because they are one of the kings of arcade games, and the best way to keep people coming back, even if you clear a game, is you want to see what the other paths do.
Yeah. Now if they ever make a House of the Dead 5, like you know what Virtual Fighter 5 when they they had the Virtual Fighter terminal
Uh huh.
where you have this card and you can customize your own characters and everything. Like I think they should do that with House of the Dead 5. Like have an AMS card and
That would be pretty
yeah,
cool. That definitely sounds like it would work. I mean, in Japanese arcades, pretty much everything has a card system to save your progress.
yeah,
Even little kids games, actually little kids games, like half-size cabinets, playing Dragon Quest and some other random games like Gundam and other things I'm just not into because they're just too young for me. I don't follow stuff as much anymore.
nice.
They have cards and you can battle stuff and you can save your player stats on another card and they can make so much money off these things.
Yeah, I know. Um, Speaking of which, I've seen like they could do another Pacino House of the Dead game. I saw there was a one game called House of the Dead EX, not the one with Zombie on Zombie Co. But
Yeah.
like there was one based off of House of the Dead 3, but I believe they could make another one like have like a little side story between House of the Dead 4 and 3.
Yeah.
Um, like Virtua Fighter, Revolution. It was based off of Virtua Fighter 5, and they actually had a storyline to it for the first time. I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like we've been waiting for like a story mode for Virtua Fighter for a long time, and it's in like a casino type game, and I'm like, man, when is
Yeah,
this?
it's weird where they decide to drop these things, man. Sega's weird
Yeah,
sometimes. Like, gosh, back in 2007 or 8, Sega or Yu Suzuki decided to drop a Shenmue mobile game uh, on phones only. Back before the iPhone picked up, it was like really basic text based with limited graphics.
oh my
Oh,
god,
it's so weird. I was like, what are you doing putting Shenmue on a phone? I mean, on an old phone, not an iPhone or an Android, but just your standard flip phone, and it's only in Japan, man.
yeah, only in
That hurts.
Japan. It does. No, you're lucky. It hurts for
I'm
me.
lucky. I mean, I was playing it for somebody else. I don't remember. I think it was somebody else on Sega Bits or something. Asked me what it was like. But yeah, it was also, I had to be a little bit careful because it was eating up my data on my phone, and I wasn't really paying for it.
Oh god.
Back then, you didn't really use the internet function very much. You'd like text people and send a picture here and there, but yeah, it was a good way to eat up data. I think that's the only reason for those games back then.
Oh my god. Speaking of mobile games, have you tried any of the House of the Dead mobile games?
No, is there any one that you can recommend to me? I have an Android phone, by the way. It's a Galaxy S3, so.
I believe it was like it's like for the older phones. It was way before Android and iPhone.
Ah,
Uh,
I don't know if I could access those games then.
dang,
They might,
it's
they might be even taken down by now, depending on how old it is. How long ago did you hear about these games?
it was a few years back. It was I think during when House of the Dead 4 was out. It
Ah,
was a remake of the House of the Dead 1. It wasn't House of the Dead Nightmares. It was in 3D where you rotate uh, Rogan and G like in a 360 angle and like shoot creatures and stuff.
that's
It was
funky.
it was still on rails and stuff, but it was like in 3D and you have to like you can move the character like up and down and like 360 turn. Like
That's pretty.
and the game would tell you like if the creature is coming behind you or not, and then you can just turn around and shoot them.
That's pretty advanced for a game like that.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I actually wanted to play the game. It was supposed to come out in the West like a while back when they had all them mobile games. Remember the original Sonic Jump?
Oh God, yeah, that really basic.
Yeah, it was supposed to release around that time, but eventually Sega canceled it and stuff, And then now they're back on the Android marketplace. The only House of the Dead I know that's out that you can play is the House of the Dead Overkill, the Lost Reels, which is actually out right now.
Uh-huh.
There's another one. I haven't played it on like on the actual old phone, but I played it on the emulator. It's called the House of the Dead Nightmares, which is like
Oh.
it's like the same concept as the 3D one, but you're only playing as Thomas Rogan, and it's in 2D. Like it's like Space Invaders a little bit, like, but it's different. But like you have creatures coming in like left and right, and then from below, and you have to like turn Thomas Rogan in a 360 angle so that way he could automatically shoot them. And you can also get additional weapons. You get a shotgun, machine gun, all types of weapons. I think even grenades too. And it's pretty hard.
Interesting.
It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. I can't even beat the chariot. The chariot keeps killing me. Like,
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
there's like creatures on the right, and then the chariot is on the left, and you're trying to focus on two. And you're like, oh god, leave me alone. And
What the heck? Yeah, that's
yeah.
too much, man. I can't even imagine how that would move on an older piece of hardware too.
It's crazy.
Take up the whole screen.
Yeah, take a whole screen up and just handle it.
Oh, I was poking around Google Play. It looks like there is a House of the Dead Overkill on the Play Store. It's 500 yen. I don't know how much it is in dollars. I don't get the American store in Japan. It's still region blocking and all that crap. That looks kind of fun.
What else we can talk about?
Oh, have you played the Wii versions of the House of the Dead games?
Uh,
I know that 1 and 2 was packed in with the gun attachment at one point. They also had Overkill, right?
yeah, 2 and 3 Return and House of the Dead Overkill.
Did you have a chance to play that?
Oh yes, I actually own them. Actually, like they're pretty good. I think how 2 and 3 were based off the PC version of House of the Dead 2 and 3.
Oh,
3 had an additional mode called Extreme Mode where you can actually block the enemy's attack from hurting you.
interesting.
Yes, but like the only downside to both of the games and stuff, you only start with like a few credits, like at least 5, and like me, I start usually on 9 because like
Yeah,
it gets a little hard and fast.
yeah. I'm not a pro shooting game player at any stretch of the imagination. 9 would definitely be my starting point if I want to try to get through a game.
No, House of the Dead Overkill. I remember I went to New York Comic Con, and that was the first time I saw Sega of America promoting the game and meeting the people
Wow.
who worked there. Aaron Weber was there showing me how to play the game, and you know, it was pretty good until I fought against Jasper. It felt like I'm fighting a magician on the first stage, and I was like, oh my god, it was pretty.
Yeah.
It was pretty hard to find a weak spot and everything. But
Yeah, putting him in the first stage, that's pretty rough, man.
it's still good though, you know. And like I kind of wish they released more. I'm still waiting on at least 2 House of the Dead games to come out: the original arcade port and the House of the Dead EX.
Hmm,
Like
interesting.
with Zombie on Zombico, because they have they also have the paddle with it, like Time Crisis, where like it's basically
So you can duck
yeah,
like
not,
Time Crisis?
oh well, not necessarily duck. It's like used for several
Block?
other things.
Oh, okay,
Um,
so it's just different kinds of event actions.
It's like it's like a party House of the Dead game, basically.
Huh. Okay, well that would explain why Zobiko and the other guys there. All right.
Yeah, and you know, like, you know, I kind of miss games like Japanese, like House of the Dead games made from Sega of Japan. Kind of miss that already. Like,
Yeah.
we've been seeing a lot of Overkill. I love Overkill, but you know, it's about time to come back to the original roots and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you know if anybody's from the originals is still around with Sega AM?
Takashi Oda is still at Sega of Japan.
Hmm.
He worked with Nishiyama-san on House of the Dead 4. I actually
Okay.
actually like the way he, like, you know, how he wanted to make House of the Dead 4. He likes to make cool products, cool
Yeah.
Sega products, you know, and Sega is the definition of cool, you know.
That is true. That's why I was always a Sega fan.
And I did an interview with Takashi Oda a while back. He was like, if another House of the Dead game was made, like, you know, I asked him what AMS stand for, you know, like
Ooh.
you have yet to, you know the different the acronyms of the, you know, secret organization that Rogan and G works for. And,
Yeah.
he said if he ever does that, they'll have to make another prequel game, and why people call GG,
Yeah.
and that would be perfect, you know, like
Yeah, a little origin story would be great. I'd like to know some of the background of House of the Dead.
yeah. So it could be more prequels and sequels coming in, like in like House of the Dead 5. it's gonna be focused more on the Mystery Man, who like you see in House of the Dead 3 and 4. If you do good in certain conditions in the two games, and
Huh.
another thing he incited about, like he stated that like some of the boss characters may return. Like
Of course.
I wouldn't mind seeing Zeal and Crawl come back in House of the Dead 5. 'Cause, they're pretty much iconic. Like Zeal with the
Uh-huh.
Suffer Like G did.
Yep.
Quote, yeah. So like hopefully he'll come back. And yeah. Do you have any favorite bosses from House of the Dead?
That's the only one I remember is Zill. Suffer like G did. I just like that quote. And I know somebody's has that as their tag on some website I've went to in the past. I always thought that was funny. Like, what's wrong with you, man?
Like, my God. And so that's pretty much it. So
Yeah.
like we might see a sequel to House of the Dead, hopefully soonish. Hopefully Sega.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, man. I forgot. At the beginning of the show, you asked me if I played any games recently. I forgot one that was really important. I played Typing of the Dead.
Oh, you played Typing of the Dead?
I found Typing of the Dead in another grocery store that I don't normally go to. They had a cabinet. It was really worn out and broken down, but the keyboard worked fine. I had pretty good time with that. I hadn't played that game in years. I own the copy for Dreamcast, but actually being able to stand up and play it on a cabinet, it's been a long time.
Oh man, like I think they're still going with Typing of the Dead in Japan. Like not too long ago, I think they made an online version or something.
Yeah, there's also a lot of PC Teach typing stuff.
Oh nice, they can make a lot of money off of that. And they're
Mhm.
English of the Dead, which I still need to import. Uh, and freaking have you tried Typing of the Dead Overkill on Steam?
No, I haven't. I'll have to check that out. I have some money in my wallet that I need to spend on something.
Okay. Nice. What else? I guess, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, let's see. Not in particular, but if you have any questions about retro gaming or buying stuff in Japan, go ahead and ask anything you want
Oh, sure.
while you got me on.
Nice. Speaking of that,
I know it's not on our original list of things to discuss, but I thought that'd be a pretty interesting topic.
do they still sell Sega Saturn games?
Yeah, actually, I guess PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn era games are starting to become less and less easy to find. When I originally moved here 8 years ago, I could go to I guess what we'd call in the United States would be like a Goodwill or something, but in Japan they call them recycle shops.
Right.
I could find bins and bins of Sega Saturn games, all the good ones, Burning Rangers, gosh, what else? Lots of Virtualons, lots of Virtua Fighters, basically all the common stuff, but I'd find a lot of rare stuff too because the retro market still hadn't quite kicked in yet. So I got a lot of good pickups and a lot of really cheap peripherals. Like, let's see, I bought the original Virtualon twin sticks in complete in box, barely used. I think it still had the plastic wrap on it, but the box was just faded because it's probably in a display for so long.
Oh, nice.
I also picked up, what is another rare Saturn thing? Guardian Heroes for Sega Saturn.
Oh my god.
Yeah, my friend had the American English version, but I wanted my own copy, and, well, I found that. I got a Skeleton Sega Saturn. I have two of them, actually.
Dang, I really need to rebuy a new Sega Saturn. I actually have the North American one. I'm thinking about getting the Japanese version because it has a lot